Hello to all of you fine and fancy people from across the information superhighway to the 99th edition of my all-form weekly series of Weird Mind Newsroom, where this week we have a focus of some variety new releases, a selection of trailers, and some news stories that I promise will not be way too long and drawn out like last week. But for that instance, let's not dwell on the intro for too long, and let's talk about all things media that did come out for this week.
Wife gone. Think about wife.
Our first of the new releases for this week is with the focus of asking the question that if you were a simple person whose life was upended from the sudden loss or passing of someone that was very important to you, of how far you will go to avenge what happened, or to help find them and bring them back, no matter how far or long it takes. Well, in this case, the first release for the week is how the story will take shape, as we have the all-new action thriller known simply as The Amateur. The film follows Charlie Heller, a brilliant CIA decoder whose life comes crashing down when his wife dies in a London terrorist attack, and when his supervisors refuse to take action, his intelligence becomes the ultimate weapon as he embarks on a dangerous task across the globe to track down those responsible. Reception on this new title has garnered some very well received reception, with praise to his performances, particularly of Rami Malek and Lawrence Fishburne, its take on the action thriller genre, and the focus of its narrative of being a well entertaining affair, not all bogged down by mindless action. And if you want to check this out for yourself, you can catch this new film out now in cinemas. Our second film for this week is seeing a case that a simple planned night out, hoping to start something new, could lead to cryptic messages and a whole deep level of fear and terror, as the studio Blumhouse and the director behind Happy Death Day and Freaky have brought a sense of horror with a little bit of technology twist to it, as we have their all-new film of Drop. The film follows Violet as she heads on a date to an upscale restaurant and meet Harry, her charming and handsome date, after being widowed for far too long. However, her pleasant evening soon turned into a living nightmare when she receives a phone messages from a mysterious hooded figure who threatens to kill her young son and sister unless she kills Harry. Reception on this film has also garnered some well-received reception, with praise to its concept and performances, though I have seen some say it has a bit of a dumb concept for a horror title, and my own issue with the film is why do they have to CGI or AI the skyscrapers throughout the entirety of Dublin City when they make no logical sense in explanation and kind of just makes it physically impossible in some regards, or just a bit of a continuity issue what I've seen from trailers footage. But besides all that, if you want to look past both of those issues, you can catch this new film out now in cinemas yourself. Our last film for this week is something that I not in most other years of the past would have been seen as something close to an action film on the political level, but in this day and age it does feel close to reality when some slight changes, but when the world leaders are in danger, one must step up to the challenge to resolve that problem, as we have the new political action film of G20. The film focuses on US President Danielle Sutton, who must rise up and use her governing and military experience to help rescue and defend her family, fellow leaders, and the world when a group of terrorists take it upon themselves to take world leaders hostage at the annual G20 summit. Reception on this film has been a bit more of a mixed reception, though while praised its main focus leads of Viola Davis and Anthony Starr have been praised, the film has been hit with a bit more of a mixed and feeling a little too disconnected and unnecessary in a world of political mess and drama that is currently happening right now. But I am sure if you look past that and dull out the real world drama, you can have something that may be an entertaining movie night, and if you want to check it out for yourself, you can catch this new film out now on Amazon Prime Video. And as for TV for this week, is giving the ideal that sometimes in this strange and scary reality we live in, it can be a lot sometimes, and the need to escape is just what is needed in this world. Though the case of this series reality is near close to the real one outside, as after a bit of time, comic actor Charlie Brooker is once again back to bring a whole new wave of unsettling tales that hits close to reality, as we receive the all-new 7th season of Black Mirror. The series, of course, will continue the focus of being an anthology series and focus on stories and topics based on some strange and twisted concepts of reality, and give them a focus in the limelight on this day and age, and see a bunch of big name stars coming together to tell those tales of one-off stories or continuing the narratives of some episodes from past few seasons. Reception on this new season, like the previous ones, has continued to be very highly well received, with praise to its going to the new stories, the all-star cast in the season, and for feeling like a proper return to form of the classic era of Black Mirror everyone loves. And if you want to see a new bleak reality that may still be close to our own, you can catch this new 6 new season out series now on Netflix. On the games side of things for this week, the first mixes a vibe of mystery, fantasy, and a trip down in the marshes of the South, as we have the all-new action-adventure fantasy title of South of Midnight. In this title, you play as Hazel, as she's taken on a journey into the deep south after a hurricane destroys her hometown of Prospero, where she is pulled into a realm of fantasy of mythical creatures and dangers, based on myths and legends of the American South, where she must become what is known as a weaver, a mender of broken bonds and spirits, and must untangle her family's past and reweave the tears in the great tapestry and find a new place that feels like home. Reception on this new title has garnered some very well received reception, with praise on its visuals, its story, its sound, and performances, with some issues stemming that it could be a lot to play in one sitting or maybe go on a bit too long. But if you want to take a trip to the bayous, then you can play this new title now on Xbox Series X and S PC. And as for the last game and release for this week, as we are heading off into the deep cosmos, far beyond our own galaxy, and with a trusty board in hand, we are about to hit the space dunes and look good while doing it, as we have the release of the all-new action-adventure title of Star Overdrive. The game will see you racing across a vast, strange alien planet with your trusty hoverboard in hand as you explore, master tricks, battle enemies, and solve many puzzles, and with the harnessing of new powers will help you overcome challenges and shape your destiny in the process. Reception on this title is a little more mixed, though still modestly received, with praise on its concept and gameplay, though most case issues stem from performance and length or difficulty, but I'm sure it'll be worth a play and travel across this new planet, and if you want to play it out for yourself, you can play it now on PS5, Nintendo Switch, and PC. And with all of that, that's all the new releases that we have for this week. On the first of the trailers, should you choose to watch them, is seeing the fruits of the past catching up to one special agent everyone has built upon. It all leads to one final mission, as Ethan Hunt is coming back once more with an all-new trailer for the upcoming supposed final entry of the MI series with Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. The film will follow on from the conclusion of Dead Reckoning, with Ethan Hunt and the IMF obtaining the key item needed and must now travel across the globe in order to find and destroy a highly deadly weapon known as the Entity, a powerful AI gone rogue that may destroy humanity if it falls into the wrong hands, while also dealing with the misdeeds of the past getting in the way of saving the world in that aspect. It is definitely a case that I can say that with this series could have crashed and burned after an appealing first movie, a mixed appeal of a sequel, and development troubles of a third film, but only proved the case that from 3 onwards that every new edition just got better and better, and these films definitely have that excitement and appeal of an action, big set pieces, and just being what mad crazy shit that Tom Cruise and the rest of the team have decided to come up with in this film. And I'm foreseeing how this franchise will come to an end because I'm excited for this one. And it's not too long away either, as his new film will be dropping into cinemas in about a month's time from the 21st of May. Now our second trailer will go from big action series to a new original story from a director that is often known for his eccentric style and approach to filmmaking, of course, in cinematography, writing, and directing, as Wes Anderson is back once again to bring with him an all-new black comedy political espionage film with the trailer for his all-new film of the Phoenician Scheme. The film will follow wealthy businessman Zaza Corda, played by Benicio del Toro, who after surviving another plane crash decides to leave his entire estate to his sole daughter of Sister Liesl, played by Emil Freppleton. This soon leads to him going on a journey of embarking on a new enterprise that soon becomes a target for scheming tycoons, foreign terrorists, and determined assassins. So it's always intriguing as we to learn and observe what kind of crazy and madcap form of storytelling that Wes Anderson has in mind for his projects, from small desert towns that hold sightings of spacecrafts, madcap murder at a very fine established European hotel, to even a case of an island full of dogs or an adaptation of a quite fantastic fox. He really gives something unique, and I feel from his small clip that has shown its charm, its humor, its intrigue, and an all-star cast taking the reins, and I'm kind of excited to check this one out. In all cases, this one is also not too far away as well, as we released here in cinemas from the 23rd of May, and then releasing a week later in the US as a limited release before opening wide on May 30th to June 6th. And our final trailer for this week has actually just appeared and announced out of nowhere, but relates back to a rumor that went around back at the end of last year or earlier this year that this is just another story of the Ultimate Hunter coming out this year, but instead of just one setting, we are jumping across history, as the director of the surprisingly great Prey film is returning to this world with the trailer for the animated anthology film series of Predator, Killer of Killers. Now the film will give a focus of 3 of the most fiercest warriors in human history: a Viking raider guiding her young son on a quest for revenge, a ninja in feudal Japan who turns against her samurai brother in a brutal battle succession, and a World War II pilot taken to the sky to investigate an otherworldly threat to the Allied cause. And while they may all be killers in their own right, they will be merely prey to their new opponent, who is seen as the ultimate killer of killers. So in all case, I was intrigued to see what would be made the second Predator project for this year, and now seeing it in motion, it looks cool. And the animation styles give me a bit of like an Arcane Spider-Verse style to it, and I figure if this works out well, then this will be a proper top tier title to watch, and I'm excited to check this out as well. And it's not too long away from a release either, as this new anthology will be releasing onto Disney Plus and Hulu from June 6th of this year. And with all of that in regards, that's all the trailers that we do have for this week. Now on the first of the news stories for this is firstly not going to be as long as last week, so don't worry. And in this instance, we have a small little round of some new projects or project updates coming from some directors that may appeal to be a surprise in the process as well, but let's delve into what those projects are in particular. So the first of the projects that was announced and to be helmed by a certain director is one that you would not expect to see, as it was announced that the director with the rabid fan base of Zack Snyder has been confirmed to be helming a new film based on the popular sport of UFC known as Brawler. Now, not much is currently known on this project besides this directing announcement, and UFC head of Dana White has been confirmed as a producer, but it seems odd for Snyder to go for a more grounded type of film compared to his more larger-than-life titles like 300, BVS, Justice League, or Rebel Moon, and maybe he could make something out of it. But there's also a case that the story could become very elaborate, have multiple director cut lengths, and about 30 minutes of the film be filled with slow-mo shots of punches and kicks to the face and body, but I guess we will see as more of this production does come along soon enough, but we'll keep an eye and see what this is about. But speaking of characters related to UFC, for better or worse, we also have the confirmation that we are getting a follow-up to last year's remake of the 80s classic film of Roadhouse, with Jake Gyllenhaal set to return for this follow-up, and while it was teased for a sequel, things were quiet since the first film's release, until just the end of last week when it was announced the sequel had found a new director, in the form of the workhorse British director himself of Guy Ritchie taking the reins, who can do well with an array of film styles and action, so I feel this will be some flair and appeal to this, and I'm sure we will see this get a turnaround release very quick, as this man does not stop with making films and getting them to post-production with every show after show or film after film. Now, if there's one request for this film, besides this being unnecessary, is that can you recast a certain former UFC fighter that was cast from the original film, as his actions as of late have not been the most great, and you don't want a PR disaster on your hands, and is a bit of a danger to himself and others, and either a case to recast or kill him off straight away, but that's just me, so we can see how it goes. And the last piece I will add to this one is one that may not be related to a director focus, but has a prominent name in the development of said project, and that's with the new take of Tomb Raider from Amazon Prime and from Fleabag writer and creator of Phoebe Waller-Bridge, as there's been a bit of a possible update that has come up in the last few hours as of writing this. Now, the last bit of news we heard about this series was that they initially coming down to the casting of the new lead of Lara Croft, and that role was being given to Game of Thrones star of Sophie Turner, and since it has been quiet and radio silent about any updates or writing or starting a production, or even word from the main star herself. But just late this week, there may have been a reason why, as it reported in some form that this new upcoming take on the series may have been possibly cancelled. The reasons for this is unclear, but could be some form of creative differences or just budget and production problems with the whole thing going on in the world right now, but there's no idea on as of yet. Now, in the case of this, well, this is just a rumor, and if it's true, then I feel it may not maybe be fully dead, as it could be turned into like a new film version like what happened with Horizon, or get some new big name talent involved like what is going on with the new writing directing team for the God of War series for Amazon. But as I said, it's all speculation and a rumor up the shelf for the moment. Until we get some proper word on that, we will have to wait and see until then, but hopefully this version of the Iconic Explorer will kind of get their chance, but we can see. But in all regards, I want to know about these announcements. Do you see Snyder make a good UFC film? Will you watch Guy Ritchie's take on a Roadhouse sequel? And do you see this version of Tomb Raider get made or even reworked in the outcome? Let me know what you think down below in the comments about this. So our next story consists of some announcements of some release dates for two upcoming projects, and in the case we have some updates of an announcement of two titles getting another new follow-up as well, and we can discuss about those new below. So what has been announced? So the first is about to make you take some peace, motherfucker, as after being confirmed you will see this new season release after the upcoming release of Superman, we finally got a confirmation of the release date for the second season of DC's Peacemaker, which is now confirmed release of August 21st this year, but this is only confirmed so far for the US for the moment, but hopefully this will be the worldwide release date as well as confirming when we're actually going to get the new series of Creature Commandos over here, because we are still waiting on the confirmation as this series has already been released in the US. Now, I really enjoy the series of Peacemaker, that it made a character that was such a douchebag in the Suicide Squad film into someone that you actually feel sympathetic for and someone to root for by the end of it, into an appealing and hilarious watch, and also the intro that you seriously should not skip at all. And I hope this new season will work out well in explaining in its transition to the new DCU and provide more laughs and horror over time by its release later this year, but I guess we can see. Now, in the case we have an update to a release date for a product that was announced not too long ago, but now has a new production company involved and an official release date and some cast confirmation. As was announced on Tuesday of this week that the third Angry Birds movie will now be getting a release on January 29th, 2027, and that this film will not only be made by Sony, but rather will be distributed by Paramount Pictures this time around. Now, they did drop some cast announcements with 4 confirmed returning voices, including Jason Sudeikis, Josh Gad, Danny McBride, and Rachel Bloom as Red, Chuck, Bomb, and Silva respectively, with some new additions including Keke Palmer, Emma Myers, Tim Robinson, Lily James, Sam Richardson, and a few other new additions. So the one question I have in this case is, this will be still a rivalry between the birds and the pigs, and after the end of the second film, or will the pigs even appear in this, as some familiar voices including Bill Hader as King Leonard, Maya Rudolph, Kate McKinnon, and other have not been confirmed to be back, and some of these are either could be replacements or they are not in the film in particular, those particular characters. Now, I'm sure we will see how this comes about in due time to know what this film plot entails and what both film directors will bring to this, but I'll watch and check it out with keen interest, as I did like the 2 previous films, and the second film was for a time the best reviewed video game film adaptation for a long time, until Sonic is now the lead of that. So maybe it could work out, but we will see by its release in about 2 years' time in that regards. So these next two ones were announced to be on the way, but have gotten a release date, or even gotten a release date. And this first relates to a film that has been discussion on social media for the last part, for better or worse. And after becoming the second best opening for a video game adaptation, we got word that Warner Bros. Has a sequel to the Minecraft movie in the works and in early stages of development. Now, by the time I may have written and recorded this, I might have probably seen the film. I was probably going to go earlier, but I might go later today. As I've heard, there's a lot better than people expected it to be, and I'm hoping when I do, I'm not suddenly covered in popcorn or drink from a possible packed screen when the chicken jockey scene occurs, which has been a popular thing. We can all be saved from the popularity as obtained, and I'm sure there is another story to tell with this world and characters, but I'm sure we can see when this film releases eventually. And the last announcement seems to show that juice is about to be loose once more. As on Friday of this week, it was announced that we are getting a third film of Beetlejuice, with Tim Burton also confirmed to be coming back to the directing duties. Now, it's unclear in the case that what we can do with this film story is the original was a cult classic, and the second one was not too bad and was entertaining, but I hope the case that this is not overdone to death, but I'm sure we can learn more about it in due time. Most cases I feel it was done so that you can have the title be Beetlejuice, 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 and have him appear at every screening of the film, but who knows at this rate, and who will be returning from previous entries. Mostly the case, probably Keaton at least anyway, but I'm sure we can learn more over time by its eventual release in that regards. But I want to know your thoughts on this regards. Are you looking forward to watching Peacemaker Season 2? Will you watch the Fur Angry Birds movie, and what are your thoughts on the first two movies? And are you excited for a sequel to both Minecraft and Beetlejuice? And do you think they're necessary? Let me know what you think down below and we can discuss about them there. This next story is going to be a quick one, as this was announced a long time coming for the basis of the round with the award season discussions. Now, of course, every year there's always a variety of awards and categories to come and go, and some that stick around for better or worse. Initially, it was a similar form from the earlier Oscars that the best picture was split into the form similar to the Golden Globes do now, which was like best for drama and best for like comedy side of things. Then over time became one category that got more nomination numbers after complaints back in like 2008 for like WALL-E and Dark Knight both getting missing out on awards. Then of course you can have a disaster of a category choice that could have worked better if it was not overly rigged from the start, which was the popular vote and biggest cheer moment that were basically rigged by the excessive Snyder bots on the Twitter, and the vote option was immediately dropped that year later. But this year we have one that is well overdue for an award category for those that risked their lives in the film productions to make the scene or set pieces work, and as of course with the stunt crews and performers. As was announced on Friday that the new category for best stunt design and performances will now become an all-new award category that will be implemented into the award show itself from the 100th edition of the Oscars coming in 2028. And I feel it's best to start the new century of Oscars gets a new category, and about time these brave performers get the recognition they deserve. Now, a case that I hope this award goes off with a success and not a mess like the previously mentioned popular vote category, and can lead to way more new awards categories to make sense, but I'm sure we can see in due time that this group gets some respect for their efforts, but hopefully this will turn out to be a success. But in that regards, what do you think of this award category announcement? Are you happy with the stunt performers getting the award recognition? And what other forms of award categories do you want to see get implemented in the future? Let me know what you think down below, and we can add and we talk about the additions there. Now, this last story is one that may not have been fully a case of fully announced and discussed, but there has been a bit of a discussion and rumors floating about a future of one form of film that has been pumping out new versions for about 15 years now, and that is of course with the never-ending amount of live action remakes coming to us from Disney. Now, since about 2010, as even as early as the mid-90s, Disney's made a total of about 23, possibly 24 live action remakes of some of their classic stories, from 101 Dalmatians, Cinderella, to Jungle Book, Aladdin, and Lion King. And it seems to be a case that while many people were tired of these remakes, they were still a moneymaker with every new release, and some even crossing the $1 billion mark and becoming the highest graded films of the year. And it seemed to be a case of they were not going to be ending. But that may be about to change. This comes in the recent ordeal with everyone's favorite film that just hate and review bomb of this year, and as of course with the recent remake of Snow White. That has both been getting a mix of opinions, with some positive and negative, like my sense I'm more on the positive side, and then a whole lot of review bombing to make it one of the lowest rated on IMDb, though they may have been altered as they've brought up about a case of possible been affected by constant attack campaign, and the film has not been overly financially successful and has been one of the weaker in terms of box office, and it seems to have affected Disney from this outcome. Well, that when they are not putting the blame on the whole ordeal onto main star Rachel Zegler, when it's not her fault for the ordeal and has been the one that has been getting most of the praise for these movies, and it's just feeding into the hate and drama. Now, from this ordeal there has been discussion that Disney may be considering to stop with the live action remakes due to the demand that people are not interested in them or feeling unnecessary, and the outcome and drama of this recent film film has gotten may be the catalyst. It has seemed the case that one of the recently announced remakes to be paused on production, which is a new take on Tangled, was also announced in the same process, and there's been no other discussion of any other remakes in the pipeline besides 2 that are in post-production releasing in a few weeks or next year, and as of course with Lilo and Stitch and Moana. And in case I may have heard a third one floating around that's possibly releasing either at the end of this year or next year on Disney Plus, and apparently it's a remake of the Aristocats. That's what I've heard, but I'm not sure if it's fully 100% true. Now I feel that may be a consideration that they will do now, and then the case that Lilo and Stitch will alter that, as has been discussed. Early box office projections has the new remake hitting $100 million domestic opening weekend. Then add that with a worldwide cost could make it a success. So they could go back on their all opinion here within a month, announce more remakes, but hopefully it's a case that many may consider that they don't need to make all the original films and remakes, and actually just focus on making original films in this particular instance instead to fill that gap. Or instead of case, you could do the remakes, but just do the ones that, like, you know, kind of underperformed back then in the day. So like say like Atlantis, Treasure Planet, All Different Company, all the ones that basically kind of had appeal but like kind of underperformed, and could have made something great out of it. Or just maybe just give those ones sequels. But I guess we can see in due time with the whole ordeal if this will happen or not, but hopefully they will kind of understand some mistakes. But what do you think of this rumor discussion? Do you see Disney ending their live action remakes anytime soon, or will they keep making them and this one is just a little hiccup in terms of success? Let me know what you think of this all down below and we can discuss about it there. And with all of that, that's all the news that we do have for this week.
I got 99 problems, but you won't be one.
And now, in case with all of that, this ends episode 99 of Weird Mind Newsroom. I do hope you enjoyed listening to my rambles for probably at least about 20 minutes at this point, but you know, the case instance. Anyways, let's get a discussion of what is coming up on the channel. So we'll start on the case with reviews. So I actually did start writing a bit of the Last of Us review. I rewatched the first season there over the last few days because I was building up for season 2, which as of recording is dropping 2 a.m. tonight, so that's going to be part of next week's episode, which is the 100 edition. So the case instance, the review will probably be up in the next little while. I'm just going to try and get through it as quick as I can, give some insight into maybe 1 or 2 of the episodes in that regards, you know, the usual drill, and try and figure out what characters to give a heavy focus to and what side characters just to juice down some. But yeah, that's coming. More reviews are coming along as well. I'm going to just process them, and I do long, middle, and short forms. I have 2 more films I can add to the list now of like movies that I can do reviews on, which is a case Flow, beautiful film, and Dogman. I watched both of them yesterday, and they were entertaining. I laughed a lot bit in Dogman one. It's quite funny in some of their gags. And in case, hopefully by the time by this episode goes out, I should have seen Minecraft, so maybe I can throw that in there as well. But all those reviews will be coming along as well, so look forward to them. Then in case of gameplays, by the time this episode airs, I should have Cyberpunk 2077 Part 1 up. I took a time to actually edit it and stuff like that, but this should be up now in the case of things. Hope you'll come along with the series with me as I start the Nomad journey. We'll find like Keanu Reeves, he talks about his impressive cock and all that stuff, and we got some more stuff as well. I will record more of Mario Wonder. I think I've got Star Wars Outlaws working, so hopefully we'll get that case ball roll in that instance. We'll get it once past the 200 video in that regards. But yeah, we'll see them come along in due time, so look forward to them. And in the case of long form stuff, the AI video will be coming along eventually as well. I'm going to get back to that. The rewatchathon is also nearly done of like part 1 anyway. And in case of the Horror Most Boring, I'm going to get on to and some other bits as well. So look forward to them in the next couple of weeks, hopefully. I'm just going to get on to actually starting them, so look forward to that case. But I think in the case in that regards, I should leave it there for now. So if you enjoyed my content and want to see more from me more frequently, then simply like and subscribe, as I upload new videos every single week. As a case I mentioned, I think last few times, first of all, not still kind of out of it. I don't know what really up with me lately. But in all regards, the other instance, we're looking to aim for about 500 subs for my 2nd anniversary, which is in the 1st of June. And the case instance of the end of this year, when I'll aim for 1k subs. But we can see in that regard, since like maybe some other bits I can actually do some videos I promised in the past that I can make reviews on in that regards, but we'll see. But let me know your thoughts on everything as well that was discussed this week in that regards down below. Your thoughts on everything, the new releases, the trailers and news, of course. And of course, since as well about the subscribing stuff, you don't have to subscribe. If you want to just check out my stuff or even just like acknowledge my channel, I appreciate it. You may have been ones from like day ones or long past ones that may have like, you know, disappeared for a bit, but you could, like you're always welcome back. Like even in case you leave for a bit, you come back, it's totally fine. I understand the case. I'm not the most entertaining, but you get the ideals. But I'm not gonna basically throw myself a pity party here. I'm gonna end it there now. So as always, you all stay being wonderful people and have a great day every day, doing many great things and keep being you, because no one else can do what you do. Of course, being your host Sam, my special little charm will always hold it forever. And I shall see you all in the next episode for the big 100 edition. Hopefully it'll be a big one, but we'll see. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all later. Take care.